Hello? Hey, I'm just playing the intro theme music right now. And as soon as it gets over, I'll go ahead and announce you on the show. Okay. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another great edition of the WSC Lounge. I hope you all had a great Memorial Day weekend. Without any further ado, I want to welcome my guest at this time. She is known as formerly, well, her name is Amanda Baker. Let me tell you that. She's a wonderful actress, beautiful actress. Amanda Baker. She's known formerly as Babe Carey on All My Children. And she's also ex-Jolene Crowel on General Hospital and Port Charles. Please welcome, without any further ado, to the WSA Lounge, Amanda Baker.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome, and I am so sorry about the... first of all, you know, we were going to come on at 4 p.m., and then I know that it was different in your time zone, so we changed it to 5 p.m., and then we had to change it again because I had such a hectic day to 7 p.m. But I'm glad that we got everything worked out and you were able to come on the show.
Yes, me too. I was definitely happy we were able to make it happen.
Yes. Did you grow up, well, wait a minute. Before I ask you that, did you have a good Memorial Day?
I did. Thank you for asking. You know, it was very relaxing. Just kind of hung out with the family. It was actually my husband's birthday as well.
Oh.
So we just kind of, you know, did a little, you know, celebration to him and, you know, went swimming in the pool and just kind of had a nice relaxing day. So it was really great. Thank you for asking. How was yours?
Oh, you're welcome. It was really good. We had a good Memorial Day. We just went and hung out and everything, and me and my mom just hung out and ran errands and stuff, and well, not really errands, just, you know, went shopping and stuff, and, you know, just had a good day though, you know. And I know, I'm trying to remember who it was. Somebody else had a birthday on Memorial Day, and I think it was another soap opera star, but I can't remember who it was. I don't know. I'm trying to remember. I know Jenny Francis had a birthday the other day, but I don't think it was on Memorial Day.
Okay.
I can't remember who it was though, but a happy belated birthday to your husband though.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Yeah.
And fans, if you got questions or comments for Amanda, please leave them below in the comment section, and I'll be sure and get to them. And Amanda will be glad to answer them. Speaking of fans, I do have a couple fan questions for you before I get into my questions. Ashley Morgan says, do you have plans to do any new shows or movies?
Well, I currently I had a baby about 4 months ago, and my family and I relocated to Nashville, Tennessee, about almost 2 years ago. actually got pregnant with my second child, I started to audition again here in the Southeast. And then I found out I was pregnant, so I had to take a little break. So now that I've had her and I've had about 4 months off, I'm going to start getting back into it again. And so currently I don't have anything, you know, in the works, but it's just because I'm just taking a little break from, you know, having the baby. So I plan to get back into it very, very shortly. So stay tuned. I will definitely keep everybody informed.
Well, that sounds good, and I do apologize. That question was from Ellen. It wasn't from Ashley. I read the wrong one, but that's still okay.
No worries.
I'll get to that one. Now, do you have any interest in doing any Lifetime movies?
Sure, yeah. You know, I've always been a fan of, you know, Lifetime movies and, you know, Hallmark movies. I grew up watching those.
Me too.
So yes, I would definitely be interested in doing a Lifetime movie if the opportunity presented itself. Definitely.
Okay, and you know, a lot of the former One Life to Live and AMC stars have actually done that. You know, done a lot of Lifetime movies.
They have. I've friends with and follow a lot of my co-stars and people on social media, and I've seen a lot of things, and so I definitely have followed them and seen some of them, obviously, just to watch and just give them my encouragement and things like that, and so yeah, they definitely have done those things, which I think is a great avenue to go down.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean, if you can get in any kind of different genre, you got acting to fall back on, but if you can, go into movies, besides a TV series or singing or whatever. And, speaking of singing, when you mentioned that you and your family had moved to Nashville, Tennessee, the first thought that came to my mind was Jacob W. Young, your former co-star on All My Children, J.R. Chandler.
He's very talented. He is very talented, and just to see, all that he has accomplished and done, especially with his music, is just really amazing. Like I said, I follow him on social media, and I haven't seen him in forever, but just kind of keeping up with him like that, or commenting on different things, that he's done, it's just awesome. So I'm obviously not someone just who has worked with him, but I'm a fan of his as well. So I think he's extremely talented.
Well, what would be very cool is if you and Jacob could get together for a mini All My Children reunion on a Lifetime movie or a Hallmark movie.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I would love that. I would love the opportunity to reunite with him on something like that and work together. I loved working with him. We just had great chemistry and just formed a great friendship, and love his family. He's got just beautiful, beautiful children, a wonderful wife, and we just had a lot of fun together just, in the time that we had on All My Children. So I think that would be a lot of fun.
Okay, and I'm going to get to that question from Ashley now, that fan question. She says, "Hi, Amanda. What projects are you working on now? Thanks." And I believe you just answered that, didn't you?
I did, yes. And actually, it's funny that you mentioned the singing stuff, because I haven't talked about that, as far as career-wise, in interviews and things I've done in the past. But before I actually got on either of the shows and really started my acting career, I was a singer in a couple of different cover bands. And so, and so I have a background. That was actually my first kind of love and passion before I actually got into acting. So, now that I'm in Nashville, it's funny, I have people that kind of know me from my past, and they'll say, "Are you going to do any singing? Like, what are you going to do?" And I have, some friends that are here that are singer-songwriter musicians, and I maybe kind of stepping back into that a little bit as well. So, I'm kind of in the best place to do that if I was gonna, not do anything like super crazy, but maybe do something for fun or see what we could, put together. So,
Yeah.
It's a talent that I haven't really spoken about publicly a lot, but that definitely was one of my first passions and loves, just early on, and still love it to this day. So yeah, so that might be something to look out for as well.
Well, as you mentioned, singing was your first talent, one of your first talents. Did you ever have any EPs that you released?
No, not professionally. Everything I kind of did was very just, it was actually kind of to support my acting career. When I started singing in the band, it was so I didn't have to work a 9-to-5 job, and I could actually be open to going on auditions.
Okay.
Singing in the band was basically, it was all night gigs, and so I could go and audition and even travel and do work and stuff, and still, be in the band. And we would travel. We traveled around and did the fraternity and sorority circuit. Like, it was, I tell you, it was quite the scene, and it was quite the lifestyle for a while. But so yeah, professionally, I didn't ever put anything out as far as any EPs. But yeah, when the acting kind of started to take over, I kind of put that on the back burner, and then just kind of let acting kind of take its course, And so it kind of the whole singing stuff just kind of went to the wayside. So I didn't find a way where I was able to kind of do both at the same time, which would have been really, really great,
Mm-hmm. Well, you mentioned the key word of bands, and I was just wondering, because I know a couple years ago there was a television show, I believe it's called Battle of the Bands. Did y'all ever think about doing did you ever in your, not necessarily think about doing, but did you ever in your spare time when you was with your band, did you ever did y'all ever get together with friends that was also in bands and have like a battle of the bands, kind of like they do similar with karaoke or rap or the dance moves?
We never did any battle of the bands, but we did kind of have a situation where the band sort of split, kind of, and some members went one way and the other members went another way. And it was funny to kind of see like what direction each side went to, and like the side that needed, a new lead singer, and then different places we would play. And so it was like not really competition, but just sort of like we're battling in a different way, maybe. But it all worked out, and everybody kind of went in the right direction. But I would say that would probably be the closest thing that the Battle of the Bands occurred, with the band I was in.
Well, that sounds pretty cool, and hey, I mean, at least you tried something,
Oh yeah, it was great. I wouldn't take it back for anything. It helps with stage presence and just all kind of things that it really strengthens. Just in any kind of any kind of avenue you go down as far as entertainment. So it really, really helped me a lot.
And I have another fan question for you. What did you enjoy more, GH, AMC, or night shift?
Oh my goodness. They are all so individual and different. I don't know that I could actually say I had a favorite. When we did General Hospital Night Shift, that was shot, that was in Los Angeles, and we shot that show once a week, and we would go to the General Hospital set, and we all got really, really, really close in a short period of time because we just all spent so much time together. And that was shot like a series, like a 13-episode series. And when I went to, I had to move to New York City when I was on All My Children, and I literally, when I got the call that I got the show, I had to be there in 2 weeks.
Oh wow!
And so I literally had to pack up everything and get there, and I was kind of, thrown into a situation where I was replacing a character, and everybody that was already on the show, you get super close, quickly, because they would kind of become your second family.
Yeah.
And so I just had to get used to New York and, this whole new environment and the show and everything. And I think once I got settled into that, it started to become really, amazing. And I loved just, being on the show, and like I said, working with Jacob and Bobby Eakes and just everybody there. So I think each show just had its own different qualities to it that I loved. And, so it was, and I'm still close to, Nazneen Boniadi, who I worked with on General Hospital Night Shift. I haven't seen her in forever, but I follow her and I follow her career, and just a lot of the friendships that I made on the shows and relationships that I was able to form were really special to me. And so I think taking a few from each one is also been really awesome, that I've loved.
Now, who is that you mentioned from General Hospital?
She was on General Hospital Night Shift with me. Her name is Nazneen Boniadi, and she was one of the nurses on the show with me, and she has gone on to have a phenomenal career. She has been in just a lot of different TV shows and movies, and I think the most recent thing she's done is Hotel Mumbai, and but she's done, just a ton of work, and you'll have to look her up. She's done amazing things.
Do you know what character she played on General Hospital?
She played Layla Mir on General Hospital Night Shift.
Layla
Mir.
Oh, let's see, Layla. Black girl?
No, she is. She's Iranian.
Iranian. Okay. You know what? When you said Layla, I don't know. When you said Layla, I was thinking of Tika Sumpter from One Life to Live.
Oh yeah.
I was thinking. I went back to that, and I was thinking that's why. Okay. I think I know who you're talking about. I'll have to look her up.
If you watch the show, if you go back, you recognize her.
Yeah, I got season 1 that came out on DVD of the show.
Yes.
Night Shift.
Yeah, she's on there. She's definitely on there.
Okay. Now, I got another fan question, and they said, what was it like to play a ghost on AMC?
Oh my gosh, yeah. It's funny because, when the joke about soap operas is that you're never really dead, like you always come back as a ghost or an apparition or a memory or, something like that. So, I had been off of the show for a little while, and I got the call. They wanted me to come back as Ghost, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is so funny. Like, you grow up, and if you watch soaps, you kind of see it, and then to actually experience it was quite surreal, because I thought, well, wow, actually, like, I get to be a ghost now. So it was awesome. I got to go back and see, just everybody I'd worked with, and just be back on set. It was bittersweet, because knowing that I was actually dead, but coming back as a ghost was, a very bittersweet feeling. I was like, I'm so happy to be here, but I'm not alive. So I'm like, this is just like, kind of a temporary thing,
Yeah.
So, but I loved it. I loved every second of it. It was awesome.
Now, one thing I do want to ask you, and you'll probably be able to answer this question, because anybody who doesn't even watch soap operas, they know this. Can you name what soap opera character has died more than any soap opera character on television?
Oh my gosh.
And came back.
Gosh. Okay, hold on a minute. Let me think about that for a second. Hold on a minute.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with
But this person has died probably more than over 20 times, I guess, and they've came back over the years. No, Deidre Hall, Marlena.
Oh, yes.
On Days of Our Lives.
I knew that. I knew that. And I can't believe I didn't say that because my grandmother watched Days of Our Lives growing up. And so my mom watched a couple of different ones, but I totally knew that. I can't believe I didn't guess that. Okay, my bad.
That's fine. Let's see. Did you grow up wanting to be an actress or something else?
You know, when I was younger, I always loved to kind of put on little skits and perform and be funny, and get a laugh, get the response. But I didn't know that was something that I was actually going to pursue professionally. I think probably because I was very much, mama's girl, and I just thought that I would probably stay. I was raised in Charleston, South Carolina. I just figured I would probably just stay there and, find a career. Maybe I think at one point I wanted to be an architect, and then another point I think I thought about being a veterinarian. But it wasn't until I really got into high school and we had a show choir, which was basically singing and performing. And it wasn't really until I got into the show choir that really opened my eyes to, really what performing on stage was all about. And even going into college, though, I studied business because I thought, you know what, if I do anything as far as entertainment goes, it's probably just going to be, a hobby of mine, and so I was like, I'll get a business degree. I didn't even study acting or anything in college. And I just remember after I graduated, I went to University of South Carolina. I moved back to Charleston, and I started working at a real estate company. And I just remember thinking, man, this isn't really fulfilling me. This isn't really what I want to be doing. And I had a friend of mine say, you know what, you need to go and audition for this, or to be, represented by this talent agency, and I was like, really? And they're like, yeah, just go do it. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it wasn't for that friend, I'm not sure what would have happened, but I ended up doing it. And I mean, the rest is history. It just kind of started to build after that. So, I would say though, when I was in high school, that's really what kind of sparked my love for performing and wanting to be in front of an audience or be in front of a camera. So, I'd say maybe a little bit later in my teen years.
Okay. Yeah, you actually answered one of my questions I had. Business marketing, what's that like for you? And you just answered, what it was like for you,
Yeah, it's been, I mean, to have it and to have it sort of take place in your life. Sorry, I'm getting a call and it's beeping. I apologize.
Oh, that's okay.
But I really I've used it in different ways in my life, having the business marketing degree, which I think was probably a good thing, to get while I was in college. But I definitely wonder sometimes, like, well, what would it have been like if I actually studied, theater or something like that? Would it have given me, a deeper background in it or something like that? So, but I've definitely used it in life before, when I wasn't acting, just having the business background. So I think it's been a good thing.
Well, like I was saying earlier, you can use it to fall back on,
Absolutely.
because
definitely.
You have a major in it, and also now I got to ask you about this because I know that you also you also have a degree in fashion marketing. So, is there any chance of a future fashion line?
Oh my goodness! It's funny that you mentioned that. I was like, I think I had a dream the other day had I was doing something with fashion, and I had come out with some stuff, and that actually was, I loved my classes in fashion merchandising. So I don't know. I mean, I never say never, because my life is just, once I would say that's never going to happen, it actually, like, something could happen. You never know. You never know. But I really did enjoy studying that as well. That was awesome.
Okay, and another thing I wanna ask you is, because I had Maurice Bernard on the other day, and he was telling me that Ted Knight was one of the funniest guys that he's ever met. And do you have any funny stories about Ted Knight? I'm sorry, not Ted. This has been a long day. This has been a very long day, Amanda. Ted Knight played, for all you fans out there, Ted Knight played Lorenzo Alcazar on General Hospital, and he also played on One Life to Live. Okay, but that's another story. Michael E. Knight, who played Tad Martin on All My Children, that's who Maurice Bernard said one of the funniest guys. Do you have any funny stories about him?
Well, Michael Knight, oh my goodness, what a character. I had the privilege of, being in scenes with him on All My Children, because Bobby Eats, who played my mom, she was in a relationship with him while I was on the show, and Michael Knight was kind of known for ad-libbing sometimes his lines, and he was just a jokester, and so you never knew, like, what he was actually going to say. So you kind of knew what his lines were going to be, but if he wanted to ad-lib or say something, afterward, or have a little punchline at the end, you just never quite knew what was going to come out of his mouth. And so there were several times where, you're in the middle of a scene and he's saying something, and you're trying to hold in your laughter, because he just throws something out there. It's like he knew his character so well that he could just do that, and it fit well into the scene. And so I can't remember anything specifically, but I do remember on several occasions, Bobby and I, or whoever was there, like, in the scene, and him kind of throwing something out there. We're just trying to hold in our, like, trying not to break out of character because of something he's kind of thrown out there. But just one of the nicest human beings on the planet. I mean, and I was in awe of him a lot, because he played his character for so many years. He just knew it, like, he just knew his character so well. So I learned a lot from him. But just a funny guy. Yeah, he's so right, Maurice Bernard. He's one of the funniest guys I'll have ever met in my life.
Did you enjoy? I mean, I know you talked about this earlier, but did you enjoy being on Port Charles and General Hospital as Jolene Crowel?
I wasn't on Port Charles. I did have the privilege of being written onto General Hospital when they were when they were doing General Hospital night shift. They were trying to have, because it was airing on the SoapNet channel, they wanted to write some of the characters onto General Hospital, so the fans that were watching, during the daytime would tune in on the SoapNet at night to watch the spinoff. And so, playing Jolene, she was actually, throughout the course of the show was she was not a good person. As you kind of come to find out as you're watching the show, she's actually killing people. And I just remember going in for the audition, and they didn't tell anybody that she was actually going to be, this bad character. Of course, it didn't matter to me. I wanted to be on the show no matter what. But anyway, come to find out, as I'm reading the scripts and we're kind of getting further into it, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's the person who's been killing everybody. So it was actually quite, I had never really done a character like that before. So I think for me, it was exciting, and I think think I really got to grow from it. And, working a lot with Bradford Anderson was really amazing for me because he's such a phenomenal actor, and just kind of playing off of him, and a lot of scenes we did was really fun for us, and I think, for me, kind of being in that genre for the first time, like more of a soap opera genre, it was a lot of, I learned a lot from it, and so, but it was a lot of fun. She was a bad character, but I think in the end, sort of trying to be redeemed in the sense of like saving Spinelli's life, jumping in front of a bullet to save his life was my one redeeming quality in that character.
I remember that.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun though. I really, really enjoyed playing that character.
You should go on the It's Awesome show with Bradford and Steve.
It was funny. I sent both Steve and Bradford a message, and a friend of mine actually saw their show, and I think in one of the little sketches they do, they're talking about Spinelli's like past loves, and Jolene gets brought up, and my friend said, I swear they were talking about Jolene in the skit. And so I reached out to Bradford, and I was like, that's too funny. And he was like, yes. He's like, Jolene's in the skit, So anyway, I just congratulated him on all that they were doing and just traveling around with their show. And so we've been in contact about that, which I thought was pretty hilarious.
Well, that is very, very cool.
Yes. He's just two great human beings also, Bradford and Steve, and they make quite a dynamic duo. So I'm happy that they actually decided to take it on the road and make an act out of it.
Yeah, I'll tell you a funny story real quick about Steve. He does those live videos about the Steve Burke Nutrition. That him and his family do.
Yes.
Well, one day this happened. This was a couple years ago. It was on my birthday, and he was doing one of those, and I kept commenting. I said, "Hey, it's my birthday. Can I get a birthday shout out?" And he jokingly said, "Oh yeah." And he says this toward the end. He says, "Oh yeah," and that person named Brian, I guess is a girl or maybe a boy. I don't know. Happy birthday, I thought that was so funny.
He's hilarious. He really is. He's an awesome guy, and family guy, and just obviously super talented. So that sounds like Steve.
Yeah, and then Bradford. I've never met Bradford, but I seen him in person it was one of the last, but it was back when All My Children and One Life to Live were still on the air with General Hospital. It was one of the last it was called Super Soap Nation or something like that weekend thing, and it was
sure.
Bradford was there, and Bree Williamson, who played Jessica, and Jessie from All My Children, and what is her name? Annie from All My Children, and Scott Clifton, who played Dylan at the time on General Hospital.
Right.
He now plays Liam on Bold and Beautiful, and Brandon Burrash and Olivia Jerome from General Hospital. Well, what's so funny about it, they were all signing autographs, but I didn't get to. Bree Williamson was sitting at the table, and she was signing autographs, and so was Scott Clifton. I had walked off, and I seen Brandon and Lisa, who played Johnny and Olivia, and I seen them. They were next to a fence, so I had to sign a waiver form and everything, because I actually tried to, I actually thought in my head, I said, okay, I guess I'm supposed to get on the other side of the fence. They said, no, stay right there. I said, okay. So I was just so excited, so anyway, that was the first soap people I met. Anyway, I had to sign a waiver form, a contract, saying that saying something about the I forgot what it was, but something in the waiver form about something about the picture or something. Had to sign a deal and everything. Anyway, I felt so ridiculously stupid because I looked at Brandon and I said, "Hey, buddy." He said, "Buddy." I said, "Yeah." I said, "Oh man." I said, I was thinking your name was Buddy, the guy that plays Cole on One Life to Live. He said, "No, my name's Brandon." I said, "That's right." But I got it all mixed up and I felt so stupid. But
oh, it happens. It happens.
Yeah. And then after that, I got to go in 2017 and I met Laura Wright, Palmer Watkins, Donnell Turner, Rick Hurst, William DeVry, and let's see, Dante, who plays on General Hospital. But I cannot, I don't think anybody in the soap opera business can pronounce his last name. I know his name's Dominique, but I don't know how you pronounce his last name.
Oh my goodness, don't even ask me either.
And who was the other person? And the other person was, Vanessa Antoine. So you know, I met them, you know, and that was really cool and everything. And one thing I wanted to ask you about, because I know you were on All My Children, and I don't know if you were on there at the time William DeVry was, but
I don't think I was.
Well, I never will forget this about William. I remember that he played one of the most hated people on All My Children, and
Right.
I believe he played Ryan Canvias, I believe it was, and they could not stand him on that show. And I remember his death; he was burned alive.
Oh my goodness.
So I mean, he did really good and everything, and I mean, you could tell that, you know, that he was hated and that the characters of Pine Valley just, you know, rallied together, you know.
Yeah.
And another thing that I wanted to ask you, because I oftentimes feel weird whenever I'm saying All My Children in a reference of AMC, because every time I say AMC, instead of thinking of All My Children, I think of AMC the channel, you know.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
So it really kind of confuses you on that. But I did want to know, was it hard for you taking over the role of Babe Carey, who was played by Alexis Havens on All My Children?
You know, I think it was. Not that I think it was. It was because, you know, Alexa had, she had chosen to, you know, lead the show, and she had originated the character, you know, and of course, you know, everybody decided at All My Children, that the higher-ups had decided that they were going to, you know, recast the character. So they wanted the character to obviously be played by somebody else. And so I think any time that you step into a role that has already been originated and created by someone, and then step into it, you know, obviously you're a different person, and you're going to, you know, play the character, you know, the way that you feel the character should be played. And so, you know, obviously knowing that she had a fan base and that sort of situation, it's tough because, you know, you're going to get opinions, whether they're good or bad, about how you're playing the character, you know, from the get-go. And so I think from the minute that people learned that the character was going to be recast, you know, I think people kind of form an opinion in their mind whether or not, like, oh, they're never going to be able to play her as well. You know, we're not going to ever be able to see the character as the same, you know. And so I think it was tough kind of coming into it because, you know, all I wanted to do was to do the character justice and play her the best way I knew how, but yet give her my own identity, you know. And so, because I'm not Alexa Havens, and so, but I think that for me, in my mind, I successfully was able to do that because of the relationship and the chemistry that I had between Bobby Eakes, you know, who played my mom, and Jacob, who played my on again, off again husband or whatever, you know. And so I feel like I was successful in doing that for myself, and you know, the fans were awesome. You know, whenever I'd go to a fan event or I'd see people out, you know, they were always so gracious and so wonderful, and you know, would say, you know, such great things. So but it is difficult. It's difficult having to step into a role that has already been created by somebody, for sure, rather than starting from scratch. I feel like, you know, with a character that you can just kind of go out there and just play them however you want to, you know, and just create the character yourself from the get-go. I think it's harder to step into something that's already been done.
Oh yes, I most definitely agree with you on that, because I know there's been a lot of through the years, you know, you had Kristen Alderson was playing Kiki on General Hospital, and then Haley Aaron stepped in, and
there's been a lot.
You know, she made it her role, and then Michelle Stafford was over on Young and the Restless as Phyllis.
Yeah.
And then Jenna Tagana, I believe her name is, who used to play Kelly on One Life to Live. She went over there as Phyllis, and you know, she made it her own. But now Michelle Stafford is going back over there as Phyllis. So, I mean, it's just you know, you have to have the chemistry and the dynamics to be able to play these different characters. And sometimes now, I'll be honest with you, sometimes it takes more than one person to try and fill those shoes of a character. And what I mean by that, if you look at all the Carleys there was on General Hospital, after you had Tamara Braun, you know, you had a bunch of Carleys, and then you had Laura Wright, and Laura Wright made it Carley, you know.
Yes, she did, absolutely. And she's been doing that for several years now, and really just made it her own, which has been fantastic. Absolutely.
What was it like for you being on an episode of One Tree Hill?
Oh, it was so much fun. Oh my goodness, it was great. You know, they filmed One Tree Hill in Wilmington, North Carolina. And at the time, I was living in Charleston. You know, I had not moved out to Los Angeles yet, and so it was just right up the highway. And I got to go and be on set and just kind of experience that with everybody. And the particular scenes I was in were a lot of fun. I believe the character Haley was getting married, and so I was part of her bachelorette party, and you know, playing kind of friends with her and the other girls, and so it was a blast. We had such a good time, and it was a few days of filming, and got to ride around in a limousine and get in a party bus, and you know, it was great. I loved it.
Yeah, One Tree Hill was one of my all-time favorite shows. Now, I was wondering, son, I don't know if you know this or not, but do you know if Casey Stauffer, I believe her name is, do you know if she was on One Tree Hill?
I don't know. I really don't know. I watched the show, I wouldn't say religiously, but I did watch it every now and again, and I can't tell you all the people that were there on the show, but except for, you know, a lot of the main kind of characters, but I couldn't tell you if she was or not. I'm sorry.
Okay, because she's got, I don't know if you've seen them or not. She's got two daughters. She's got several kids, but her two daughters are twins. You may have seen them before.
Really?
Yeah, and they're blonde-headed, and they're real famous. They're on Instagram. If you follow Casey Stauffer on Instagram, you'll see the twins, and they just talk and make everybody laugh and everything.
Oh, that's hilarious. I can do that.
Yeah, and they've got their own clothing line, I think, at Target now.
Oh, my goodness.
So,
wow.
Yeah, so they're pretty pretty funny, and I've seen them on different shows on TV too. So,
that's awesome.
Like talk shows and stuff.
Right.
But
that's fantastic.
yeah, and we're gonna take our commercial break, and then when we come back, I got 4 more questions for you, and that'll be it.
Sounds great.
Okay.
Hi everyone, this is Kristen Alderson from One Life to Live. I'm Lee Star Manning and Tiki Jerome General Hospital. I am in an off-Broadway show called The Marvelous Wonderess, playing Cindy Lou. You can come see me in New York on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. And you can use the code TRSTARR. That's TRSTARR for 40% off. Hope to see you soon.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Kristen Alderson. She's in a wonderful Broadway play, The Marvelous Wonderettes. You can use that coupon code to get 40% off. And actually, that show now, Amanda, she does on Sundays only. It was on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays, but now it's just on Sundays. So, but yeah, you can check her out in New York. I know that Robin Strasser, who played Dorian, she comes out there a lot. And I know that there's been a few other soap opera stars that have also went to the play. But what it's about, and I've never been, but she's been wanting me to go. But I live in Georgia, so that's like a 17-hour flight. So that's a long ways. But what it's about is they sing like Mr. Sandman and all kinds of different songs from the 60s and stuff. So it's a really fun play from what I've heard. And I'm going to have on the show Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, one of Kristen's really good friends, Jay Cavini. He's been supporting One Life to Live and Kristen for years, and he's been to One Life to Live parties that they've had with the cast and all kinds of stuff. And I think he's even met All My Children stars as well when All My Children was on the air.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's great.
Yeah, so, but the questions that I have left for you now, I wanted to ask you now, ABC has the rights back to All My Children and One Life to Live. So,
I heard that.
Would you ever consider bringing the character of Babe over to General Hospital?
Sure. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think, because a lot of the shows, what we call sister shows, especially like All My Children and One Life to Live, with kind of the overlap of characters, and one could go to another and back, and I think that they could totally go over to General Hospital. Absolutely. I mean, hey, why not?
Well, I think it'd be great. I mean, so far they brought over Nora Buchanan, from One Life to Live. She appears on there from time to time. And there was a character from All My Children they brought over. It was, her name was Cassandra, I believe it was.
On One Life to Live?
On All My Children.
Oh,
yeah.
All My Children.
Yeah, they brought her over from, did I say One Life to Live?
You probably didn't.
Okay,
but,
okay.
Cassandra, you said Cassandra though.
Yes.
And that does sound familiar
Cassandra on All My Children, she came over to General Hospital for a little bit, and then she disappeared. But I don't know if they plan on bringing her back or what, but they've, they did that before Prospect Parks, did this whole All My Children, One Life to Live reboot thing, which didn't really go anywhere.
Right.
They had John McBain and Star Manning and Blair come over there, and Taya Delgado and Todd Manning. But now Todd Manning Roger is playing Franco, So, and you know, he's kind of made that his own character.
Of course.
And John McBain, he got changed over to, let's see, at first he was, I believe he was Caleb from Port Charles when he was a vampire, come over to General Hospital. And then they took him and changed him over to a doctor, so now he's Dr. Finn on General Hospital.
I know. It's crazy how, you know, people can kind of go within the different shows and become different characters, you know, and,
yes,
you know, kind of morph in that way. So that's the beauty of soap operas, you know?
It is. It really is. And I think it's, you know, really, really neat how they can take on new roles and stuff. And, you know, speaking of roles, Wally Kurth, he just amazes me. I mean, I had him on the show before, and, you know, he's on Days of Our Lives, and he's on General Hospital, playing Justin Kariakis and Ned Ashton. And I'm like, wow, you know, how do you keep your lines together and not
keep everything straight in your head?
Yeah, I mean,
the different characters.
Yeah, because if I was over there, I mean, I'm just saying, I'm not an actor, but if I was an actor and I was over there on, say for instance, I was on Days, I would be saying, hey, Sonny and Jason, you know, I'd be getting all mixed up, you know.
Oh, I know.
On the characters.
I know. Having the two different roles on the two different soaps, it's, yeah, I mean, extremely talented, you know, but but that's the beauty of the soaps. It's like you can kind of do that, and people see you as the different characters, you know, and that's what a great actor can do, you know. So yeah, it's pretty impressive.
My second question for you, before I get to the last two questions, what was it like for you when All My Children was canceled?
Oh my goodness, devastating. I mean, you know, when you hear about a show like All My Children coming to a close after so many years on the air, you know, it was really sad because, you know, I mean, it's like a piece of history now, you know, just going away. And, you know, for me, because it was quite personal, you know, it actually was, I think, even more so, you know, just a kind of a devastating, you know, news to hear, you know, that it was going to go off the air. And, you know, kind of heard rumblings about it, but, you know, you just were like, well, maybe they can save it. You know, maybe there's something they could do to kind of keep it on the air. And, but then when it actually happened, you know, it was just sad, you know. And so I was thinking about all the other characters that were, you know, still there, and, you know, kind of having to close everything out. So it was personal, absolutely. You know, it was really sad to hear about that.
And before I get to my last two questions, I got a fan question for you. Joshua Dixon says, do you miss acting on a soap opera?
I do. You know, when you act on a soap opera, it's really such a great, it's a really great gig because, you know, you work Monday through Friday, and, you know, you usually work either the morning block or the afternoon block, but you're usually working between the hours of like anywhere between 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., you know, nothing past that usually, not unless they're shooting like a big scene or there's a wedding or a party and like everybody's involved, you know, but other than that, you know, it's a really amazing schedule. And not only that, like I said earlier, you get close with a lot of your co-stars because, especially the ones that you're working with so personally, you know, so it's also a situation where, you know, you get the script and you're shooting literally one episode a day. And so you are kind of just moving really quickly. So you don't go through 15, 16 takes. You usually take like one take or two maybe, and then you move on. So you're constantly, I feel like, evolving and moving in your storyline and, you know, learning about your character. And so it's really fast paced, which I really enjoyed. So it was awesome. I loved being on a soap. I thought it was great.
Okay. And my next question for you, now that General Hospital does have the rights back to All My Children, One Life to Live, because many fans I know probably ask you a million times a day, but I'm going to ask you as well, because I know a lot of fans out there like to hear this from somebody who's been on All My Children. Do you see All My Children and One Life to Live being resurrected by ABC for a second time? Because, you know, the first time it was through Prospect Parks on the
Right.
on the internet.
I think that it is. I think that there is a very good possibility, and General Hospital, because of the success of the show, and it's still on the air and doing really well.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say no to that, and I think that if they were able to do it themselves and really resurrect it, I think that it would definitely be just an awesome thing to see if they could get them up and going again. I think people miss it. I think the fans miss it. I think it's really something that people miss watching.
Mm-hmm.
And in my experience of having been on the show and both General Hospital and All My Children, and just talking to the fans and just knowing like how loyal they are and just how much they love the shows, I think that it really could come back and do really, really well. So I would never say no to something like that. Absolutely. I think that it's something that could happen.
Okay, now, I think that's possible too, but one thing that I do wonder, and I have to ask myself, and I have to ask you this, how would they go about if they did have a resurrection of the soaps, the current former people that were on All My Children and One Life to Live that are currently signed on Days of Our Lives, Young and the Restless, Bold and the Beautiful, and General Hospital under contract? How would they do that?
I don't know the specifics or the ins and outs of how they would do it. They probably have to start with some sort of, the writers continuously amaze me on these shows. Mm-hmm. They're able to take these stories, and even if they had to start with characters, newer characters and take some older characters that were available to do it, and kind of intermix the two. And
mm-hmm.
I think that they'd still be able to do it even if they did have characters on other shows, because these writers like I said, they would amaze me on what they were able to come up with as far as storylines go. So I think they could really come up with something pretty creative and really, surprise people with what they could come up with, and make something really interesting, with newer characters and then bringing back old characters as well. So mm-hmm. I think it would be really something cool to see.
Yeah, it would be. It would be history in the making, all right,
It would, absolutely. And, unfortunately, I think with a lot of the soaps that have gone off the air because of, history and, when soaps were so popular on the air with, people didn't have the ability to, record things or have, a million other options to watch. Mm-hmm. And, soap operas are expensive to film because you're constantly changing the scenes, out, and, you're filming, like I said, a new episode every day. And, you never really take a hiatus from filming other than, over the holidays, or if they have to go, if they go dark for a week, to build new sets or whatever it is they're mm-hmm. doing. So it's expensive to film, but I think that if they could really find a way to do it, and they've, obviously still been able to keep some soaps on the air, I think that really people would embrace it. And it would be history in the making, really. I mean, I would be there just applauding, just being like, just happy and excited that it actually happened.
Okay, and my last question for you, do you have anything you'd like to promote to the fans, and how the fans can reach out to you or keep up with you on social media?
Yeah, fans can find me on social media. I'm on Instagram. I'm at Amanda Baker Browning. My married last name is Browning, so just tag that on there on the end. So it's at Amanda Baker Browning, and that's the best way to reach me. I don't do a lot on Twitter, but I am on Twitter under at Amanda Actor.
Okay.
And so you can get in touch with me there as well. And of course, anything that's coming up or going to be happening would definitely be on either one of those two platforms. And yeah, just always love to hear from people, and just anything and everything currently in my life is pretty much going to be there. And right now it's kind of been all about my kids, but but those would be the first places you would see something for sure. So I say just stay tuned. I got baby girl who's 4 months and getting to a point where I can actually kind of get to a point where I can start auditioning again. So we will see what happens.
Okay, well, thank you so much for being on the show. I'm glad we got everything worked out where you could be on the show. And
thank you for having me. It's been great. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're very welcome. And I wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors and everything you do.
Thank you so much, and
you're
you
welcome.
too. And it was great talking with you.
Thank you, and
okay.
God bless.
You too. God bless you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was Amanda Baker, actress Amanda Baker, ex-Babe Carey from All My Children, and ex-Jolene Crowel from General Hospital, and GH Night Shift. Tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the WSC Lounge. I'll be welcoming former Dr. Ian Devlin from General Hospital. Actor Nathan Butler will be live here on the show. Questions, comments, please leave them below for Nathan. And I'll see you tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Hudson West going to close us up.